Hello, this is Sue Reynolds, President of the American Student Achievement Institute, home of Redesigning School Counseling. The focus of this video is to provide an overview of Lilly Endowment's Comprehensive School Counseling Initiative. This is actually one of 4 videos that we're doing as part of a video series. The other videos are on writing your planning grant, RSC for schools, and RSC for districts. The purpose of this video series is to help Indiana public school districts understand how RSC can be used during the planning phase in the Lilly School Counseling Initiative. And all of the videos are available at www.asainstitute.org/Lilly. Okay, so let's talk about the Lilly Counseling Initiative. First of all, here's the website that Lilly has put up to help districts and educators understand this initiative. The first page that you go to when you go into their website starts out with just a description, a kind of a summary of what this initiative is all about, and really all the basics are right here in the summary page. If you scroll down on that opening page, you'll come to a set of instructions, and the thing that you really need to look at is this request for proposals. That will give you a lot of background information and kind of help you understand why Lilly is doing this initiative and what they're hoping to achieve through it. So definitely you want to open up that request for proposals, and we're actually today going to be highlighting the different content that's in that RFP. Then also the next link gives you access to a lot of research that's been done about model school counseling programs, as well as resources that will help you as you're going through this initiative with Lilly. We wanted to point out, we were happy to see that our model, Redesigning School Counseling, was listed as a resource for you to help you with the process of designing your comprehensive school counseling program. Okay, so let's look at that RFP. The RFP opens with some background information. It talks about how students have career goals, but they and their parents lack knowledge about the pathways to those goals. They also acknowledge that school counselors can help students and parents understand those pathways. But the RFP goes on to point out that while counselors can provide this help, Indiana ranks 45th out of 50 states in counselor to student ratio, with a ratio of 620 students per one counselor. Also, the RFP explains that counselors are busy performing tasks not related to school counseling, and that counselors have limited professional development opportunities. So the RFP states that the endowment believes that one way to further the efforts to address student academic, career, and social and emotional needs is to expand and improve academic, college, career, and social emotional counseling in Indiana's K-12 schools. So throughout the RFP, there are mentions of shortfalls in school counseling. Some of them that we note are counselors are asked to perform too many non-counseling duties. Too many counselor education programs do not adequately prepare counselors to deliver college and career counseling. School administrators have difficulty evaluating counselors because of a lack of consensus about the role of a school counselor. And finally, too few administrators are educated about how a comprehensive school counseling model can really enhance students' lives and support high achievement. The RFP also talks throughout it about some best practices in model school counseling programs, and so we wanted to kind of highlight those for you. The RFP talks about how model school counseling programs include counselors on the school's leadership teams. They reduce counselors' non-counseling duties. They engage the community in enhancing and expanding the impact of school counseling. And there's really a lot written about community engagement in the design and delivery of the school counseling program. The RFP also talked about how model programs are student-focused and workforce-aligned, and they incorporate significant collaborations among counselors, teachers, and community partners. Again, really focusing on engaging the community and the entire school in providing parts of the school counseling program. And then finally, model school counseling programs address the professional development needs of counselors, teachers, principals, and community partners as related to the delivery and design of school counseling programs. Okay, so as a result of all that, Lilly is providing this statewide initiative to promote and support both the development but also the implementation of comprehensive school counseling programs that address students, K-12 students' needs, and then they list those 4 areas: their academic needs, their college needs, and their career development needs, and their social personal development needs. So they're looking for programs, comprehensive school counseling programs that would address all those needs. And then they're also looking for programs that are innovative, promising, and sustainable. I think as districts develop their models, that sustainable is going to be an important part. Okay, so then the RFP talks about the aims or the goals of the grant, and it says that the aim is to increase the number of K-12 students in Indiana who, and then these 5 things: who are emotionally healthy, who realize academic success, who graduate from high school, who obtain valuable post-secondary credentials necessary for meaningful employment, and are prepared to compete and prosper in a global society in which they will live and work. So as you're thinking about becoming involved in the Lilly Counseling Initiative, is this a good match for your school? If these are also aims of your school to enable your students to be emotionally healthy, realize academic success, graduate from high school, have meaningful post-secondary, and be prepared for work in the global economy, if that is the aim of your school, then this grant would be a good fit for your school. So Lilly has made this grant available for all Indiana public school corporations and charter schools. We've gotten a lot of questions about, can a school apply for this? But the eligibility is for corporations in charter schools. So if a school counselor is interested in this grant, they would need to talk to their district people about applying as a corporation. Okay, then here's how it will work. Lilly talks about 2 phases: the planning phase and the implementation phase. So I'll highlight both of these real quickly. So the planning phase is a phase that would happen 2nd semester of this year. So schools would be notified that they were part of the planning phase by January 20th. And then if they decide they want to turn in an implementation grant, that implementation grant would be due May 19th. So they have basically 4 months to plan and design their comprehensive school counseling program. The other thing I want to note down at the bottom is that this is a non-competitive grant. That is big. That means that every single school district in Indiana can get this funding. We are so impressed that Lilly went this direction, that every single school district in the state is going to be able to get this funding to talk about school counseling and what a model school counseling program would look like in their district. So all schools have funding. The funding is $30,000 for districts that have fewer than 5,000 students, and $50,000 for districts that have more than 5,000 students. So if this money were to filter down to the schools, the amount per school would vary. If there's a small school district that only has 2 schools and all of the $30,000 filtered down to the schools, that would be $15,000 per school. But if the district is large, maybe has 60 or 70 schools, and this $50,000 were to filter down to 60 or 70 schools, that would be a smaller amount in planning per school. So, but it is a non-competitive grant, and we just really want to emphasize that every school, every district in the state can get this funding. So if you got this funding, what would you do with it? Well, the tasks to complete during the second semester are to design a comprehensive school counseling initiative. So you would spend that funding to help you bring people to the table and have meaningful discussions about what does a model school counseling program look like, and how do you get there, and what do you need to do to make that, to design your own model for your district. So again, you'd spend your time during the second semester designing your comprehensive school counseling model. So basically it's having a lot of discussions, doing some research, and then coming up with your model program for your school district. And then at the end of that time, you could decide that you want to submit an application for funding to implement the activities in your model program. So, and that's optional. You don't have to apply for this implementation grant. We have talked with some districts that are not planning to apply for this implementation grant, but they do want to spend time talking about school counseling and designing a model school counseling program for their school and their schools in their district. So you don't have to apply for the implementation funding, but if you have items in your plan that cost money to implement, then you can. So schools would submit their implementation grant by May 19th, and then if they're awarded that grant, they would have 4 years to use that funding to implement the plan that they had developed during the planning phase. So it's a 4-year implementation, which again, I think we're very impressed with this, that Lilly has recognized that to implement a comprehensive, a model program, a sustainable program, that's going to take several years to do as you implement and you get data to show if the program's having an impact, tweak it along the way, or maybe you're doing a stepped implementation. But having 4 years to implement a whole new system, we think is a nice opportunity for our Indiana schools. So if you get that implementation grant, you would be receiving different amounts. It's a sliding scale. If your district has 1,000 students or more, you're eligible for $100 per student. If your district has 1,000 students or less, you are eligible for $100,000, even though that may be more than $100 per student. Okay, so that is the funding that's available. This is a competitive grant. Not all districts are going to get it. But again, that's why in this planning phase, you really want to do some good work. You know, bring the right people to the table, do a lot of research, really look at how do you design a promising program that's systemic, that's really meeting the needs of all kids, and really do some good thinking in this planning phase, and then turn in your ideas for funding, possible funding during the implementation phase. Okay, so then we have added on a third phase. We think that there's a third phase right now that we're in that we've just named the pre-planning phase. And that's what districts are doing right now in the next few weeks to get ready to turn in your planning phase application. So the tasks that we think you need to be doing right now are, one, to determine what planning activities you're going to implement during the planning phase. So who are you bringing to the table? How are you going to research model programs? What will be the activities that you implement during the planning phase? Are you going to have discussions about goals or root causes or possible activities? What data is going to need to be collected? So there's just all of these things that you'll be doing during your planning phase to have a really healthy planning phase that we need to talk about right now and make sure that they get into the planning phase grant application. Then you also need to determine what funding you're going to need to support those activities. So maybe you're doing research and you want to fly somebody across the country to go see firsthand a model school counseling program. Maybe you want to bring community members in for a lengthy meeting and you want to serve a meal during that time. Maybe you want to bring in somebody to help you with the planning phase, the process of the planning phase, so you're looking at technical assistance. So there will be some support that you'll need, some funding to support these activities that you are going to implement during this planning phase. And then finally, you would submit before December 15th your planning grant application. So there is no funding to help you with this. There's organizations like ours that are providing some free services. One is our video series, but then we're also doing some webinars with individual districts and regional webinars, as well as some print materials. So, so you do have some assistance in this part. And again, I would direct you at least to our video series to help you think about planning your proposal for your planning grant. Okay, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Then a couple other things. In the RFP, Lilly has encouraged districts to engage in the following during the planning phase. So finding model programs, engaging all educators and key community members in finding and analyzing research about model school counseling programs, and then comparing the model programs in research to the school's current program so you can see where your strengths and your weaknesses are. Then consider how classroom instruction and online tools and other supportive services can complement a one-on-one counseling delivery model. And then 4, consider the advantages of aligning the program with other initiatives in the community, related initiatives. And then also in this planning phase to determine what additional technical assistance may be helpful when you get to the implementation phase. So, so those are, among others, some planning activities that Lilly has suggested in the RFP. Okay, one thing we wanted to point out that we think is very unique is that there are very few hoops in the planning phase of this, or the implementation phase. There's just very few hoops. Really, schools and districts have the freedom to design the school counseling program that they think is most likely, is most promising in terms of doing those things on the right, increasing the number of K-12 students in Indiana who are emotionally healthy, realize academic success, and so forth. So you have absolute freedom. Really, I would just think of this as a blank piece of paper. You're starting from the ground up, and you can do whatever you want. I think this is so exciting, and really, when you think about it, during that planning phase, there will be a think tank in every single school district in Indiana where people will be coming to the table to do some really good thinking about what does a sound school counseling program look like if it's going to result in the 5 things that are listed at the right. And then you've got some funding to support those meetings, to support your research, to support site visits, to support you engaging with technical assistance providers to help you have these conversations within your district. So yeah, so we just think this is just incredibly exciting. So also remember that in addition to increasing the number of students who are doing those things, those 5 things, that Lilly has talked about wanting programs that are innovative, promising, and sustainable. So as you're thinking about this whole initiative, please be thinking about those 3 things as well. Okay, so I mentioned that this was part of a video series. We're just winding up our first video on just giving you an overview of the Lilly School Counseling Initiative. The next video I really encourage you to watch, and that is a video that will further talk about the planning phase, the types of things that happen in a planning phase, how to budget for a planning phase, who comes to the table in the planning phase. So that will really help you, I think, prepare to write your planning grant, and then we'll give you some tips on writing your planning grant as well. And then the next 2 are talking about redesigning school counseling. There's a Redesigning School Counseling for schools and one for districts, and we really would encourage districts to consider enrolling in both of those. Basically, in those initiatives, we go through a planning process with schools that's data-driven, it's vision-based, it aligns perfectly with the aims of the Lilly Counseling Initiative. And it's a step-by-step process with just a ton of resources and tech support, on-call support. So we really encourage you, if you're looking and would like to think about some technical assistance for writing your planning grant, that you research Redesigning School Counseling, both for schools and districts. So, and then just to remember that our whole purpose in this video series is to help districts understand how RSC can be used during the planning phase in the Lilly Counseling Initiative. So the first step was to help you understand the initiative, and then now we want to go to the next video to look at more information about the planning phase and how to write your planning grant. All these videos are available at our website, /Lilly. Okay, and then finally, if you have any questions about the Lilly School Counseling Initiative, please direct those questions to Lilly, and there's where you can send those questions. And if you have any questions about redesigning school counseling or about how it can be used during the planning phase of your Lilly initiative, please direct those questions to us at asa@asainstitute.org or our phone number 812-349-4142. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you have, or if you just want to bounce an idea off of us, we'd be happy to chat with you as well. Okay, so thanks for everybody for participating in our first video, and we hope to see you in our second video on the planning phase.